Welcome to Weekly Digest, where we highlight the works of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. St. Ignatius in Region 9 is currently experiencing significant development as over $20 million in projects were commissioned by Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sukai. The projects were funded by the Carbon Credits and Presidential Grant programs.
They have $5 million for the extension of the St. Ignatius hot meal, primary hot meal building. They also equipped it with freezer, fridge, kitchen cupboards, microwave. There's a $40 million farine processing unit that will be done in the area, so it will support the processing of the cassava.
A plethora of opportunities are being created for women and youths to ensure everyone is involved in the country's development. As such, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, noted that both categories of the population have been majorly contributing to the infrastructural landscape of the nation.
Out of the large projects that we award, 14% of women got those. Large projects. That's employed. From the local projects, between 14 million and 100 million, we have awarded 22% of those contracts to women. From the small contracts, from 1 million to like 14 million, which is the ministerial tender board, we have awarded 34% of those to women.
Residents of Nabaklis West Side Line Dam were assured that infrastructural works in their community will be executed without hindrance.
We will deal with the other part outside of this here, your mistake and what happened at a later stage. But you cannot dig up back materials that you put down on the road.
No. Yes, sir. Understood.
That can cause confusion in the village.
Definitely.
Then somebody can mischievously interpret that to say the government send the contractor for dig up the stone. As if we don't want to give you a road. The matter is simple, and I think we should consider this matter solved. Wherever crusher run is on the road, stays on the road. The contractor could only pave because the asphalt is the most expensive part of the contract. The contractor could only pave up to the distance that is on his contract.
The Restorative Justice Initiative is gaining momentum as another batch of persons receive training under the program. For the next 2 weeks, 23 participants will be trained to effectively engage victims, offenders, and community leaders for a more holistic approach to addressing crime.
Restorative justice is one of the many concepts which we have incorporated into our justice system that demonstrates the government's commitment and the judiciary's commitment to ensure that our justice system continues to be dynamic and continues to incorporate the innovations, the new evolving concepts, and the new developmental trends taking place in other parts of the world.
Guyana's justice sector is being revamped for targeted approaches to addressing crime. As part of this drive, steps are being taken to implement alternative means of dispute resolution to ensure that the sector remains relevant to the changing times.
I have already laid in the National Assembly a new and modern arbitration act bill, which will become an act shortly, and that will change in a transformative way the arbitral and arbitration architecture of our country.
Guyana is making significant investments in skills training programs as there is need for more skilled labor. As such, 174 individuals of Region 6 who have successfully completed several programs through the Board of Industrial Training BIT are now proficient in diverse disciplines.
You must use your craft. You must use your training to develop yourself in all respects, more so financially. Important to that is we allow for this. The Board of Industrial Training allow for people who graduated in one program to do another program if they so desire. Because I believe fundamentally a one skill and a one talent person will not survive the world that is before you. You have to have more than one skill and one talent. You have to be prepared. In the event one door closed, you can walk into another door.
With an increasing number of women participating in free training programs, more female entrepreneurs are emerging. Minister of Human Services and Social Security Dr. Vindya Prasad attributed this trend to the significant investments made by government to empower and upskill women.
Investing in women has been a priority of this ministry. It's part of our wider government's mandate. We are creating these initiatives, seeing women, moving towards them and utilizing them to become entrepreneurs or to become voices for other women. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be in right now because the world is wide open. The universe is the limit.
Guyana is boosting its ability to manage the oil and gas industry through training for the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, and other key players.
The aim is to ensure that we can build local capacity. That is the aim. Similarly to how we have been building local capacity in the private sector so that the businesses, the local businesses and the local private sector and Guyanese can benefit directly from the oil and gas sector. Similarly, we are trying to build capacity within to ensure that we can manage the sector and manage it in a manner that there will be full transparency, accountability.
The Guyana School of Agriculture received a first-of-its-kind greenhouse which houses hydroponics and aquaculture facilities. The greenhouse will help to impart knowledge of climate-resilient agriculture production as a sustainable safeguard for food security.
When we talk about precision agriculture, this is the way to go. Start it so that we can implement it. We have seen a number of this project across the country already. Over the last 3 years, we have built over 450 shade houses across the country. We have seen a number of projects which we have implemented that encompass young people and women.
The Ministry of Education launched its primary education textbook series, Mathematics Made Easy, and Guyanese in the World.
If we're going to give every child textbooks, if we're going to build schools for every child to sit in, if we're going to make sure every child has breakfast at certain levels, if we're going to make sure we invest in training and retraining our teachers, we have to start seeing better results.
Minister of Housing and Water, Colin Crowell, led a team to the construction site of a new complex, which will give persons more access to the ministry's services. Located at Houston along the Mandela to Eccles Highway, the complex will accommodate 2 buildings. The first will house the Secretariat for the Ministry and the Central Housing and Planning Authority, while the other will house the headquarters for the Guyana Water Incorporated.
Every day, as we speak, the mandate of the ministry keeps increasing. Our staff keeps increasing, so we have an issue of accommodation, so we're trying to push the contractor to be able to complete in time. On this here, there's a contract, an ongoing contract that has been awarded to the tune of $570 million. And it's intended to be 5 floors as part of this construction. So they're about the 2nd floor. A lot of persons have been asking, they haven't been seeing activities. And that is because the contract is awaiting some additional materials that has now arrived and is to be cleared. And then they will recommence work.
The Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation is now a certified kidney transplant center, the first in Guyana to be certified by the Ministry of Health and the Human Organ and Tissue Transplant Agency.
While we've been doing a lot of good work, we also need to make sure that it's compliant with international standards. What we have done here and that extensive process that Dr. Samaru just went through is verifying that we are meeting all the international benchmarks that exist in other parts of the world. So we are happy to have engaged in this process.
This has brought us to the end of this edition of Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related stories, do log on to our website at dpi.gov.ui and our social media platforms as well. Goodbye.